So friends, in this video we learn about input streams. So input streams are a mechanism to read data from a source. Now this source can be a file, it can be memory, or it can be even socket and these kind of things. Okay. In the previous section we learned about serialization. So whenever you serialize an object, you save its state into an file. So you might have to read that state back also. Okay, so for that you need a input stream. Okay, so that is why we have input stream. So input stream is present in the java.io package. Okay, java.io.input stream. So using this you can read file from various different kind of sources, but this is an abstract class. So depending upon from where do you want to read the data from, there are many implementations available for this. For example, we have file input stream, then we have byte array input stream. If you want to read from a byte array, okay, this data is already held in the memory, but if you want to read it back as an input source, then you can use byte array input stream. Then we have buffered input stream. So buffered input stream is built on top of this file input stream. It is built on top of this file input stream. It gives you some extra capabilities or some additional functionalities. For example, it gives you buffering functionality, so which helps you to effectively manage memory. So it will buffer and read the file instead of reading the complete file at once, thereby improving your memory efficiency. Then there is data input stream. It is used for reading values from any primitive data type that we have defined in our Java program. If you don't remember what is primitive data type, please watch the previous videos in the starting section, then you will be clear about that. And then we have the last one, which is object input stream. So in the last example, we saved the state of an object into a file. We can use this object input stream and get it back into memory, load it back into memory. Right now it is living dormant in a file, but you can bring it back into your Java memory by using this object input stream. Okay, so some basic methods which are available in the input stream is the read method. It is used to read a single byte. If the byte is not there or it is at the end of the file, then it will end of the stream, then it will give you minus. And then there is read, and it takes a byte input. So it will read all the contents of this B byte array, total contents at a time. Then we have this read, which takes this above byte array, and then it takes an offset. So if you want to read a portion of an array, then you can give the offset starting and ending positions, and it will read that much part of the array. This is another common method which is there in input stream. And then there is the close method, which is used to close the stream and release all the resources that might have been loaded in the memory. So if you do close, then after doing close, you cannot do anything like read, write, because the stream is closed. Everything is flushed. Okay. If you do that, you will get an exception. Okay. So now let's see some code example for these. In this example.txt, we have written a simple text, which is hello world. And then let's start with the file input stream example. Okay, so in this example you can see at line number 7 we are creating a file input stream. Okay, and we are passing it the name of the file, which is example.txt. Okay, so whenever we call the read operation, if it has reached the end of the file, then it will give -1. So what we are checking is we are calling this read operation in a while loop. So when it will reach to the end of the file, then it will give -1. Otherwise, it will continue to run this loop again and again. So it will read one by one all the words, and then it will print all the words. So let's run this. We see we get hello world. If we debug this, you will see that we are using system.out.print. We are not using system.out.println. If we use println, it will print all the words, but since we are using print, it will print all the words simultaneously. Okay, so if we debug this, every time it will read one word. So it is giving the ASCII reference for the character, and when we execute it, you see it has printed H. Now again it would print E, then L. If you see this part, it is printing word by word. Okay, it has printed the complete word. So this is the file input stream example. After that, let's see byte array input stream example. So here at line number 8, we have this string and we are converting it into bytes. Okay, so this is our byte array. And in order to read byte array, we need byte array input stream. So that is why I've taken this byte array input stream. And again, we are using the same while loop. So until it reaches the end of the byte array, it will not give minus. So it will give all the characters one by one, and it will print them on the console. You see, it is printing one by one. Whatever is there in our byte array, it will simply print it. So hello byte array input stream. So here we are using byte array input stream. Earlier we were using file input stream. So there are different type of input streams available depending upon your input, and you have to use them accordingly. So next in the line is buffered input stream. It provides buffering, or in a way it provides memory efficient use of memory. If it is a very large file, it will read it in small buffers so as to utilize the memory efficiently. Again, we are using this example.txt file. Again, we are using the same check, and we are printing the word one by one. You can see here it is printing one by one. So for a small input, you won't know the difference. But if you load a very big file using this file input stream, you might run out of memory. But if you use a buffered input stream, it will give you better performance. It will not easily run out of memory. You can see that it is printing word. This was buffered input stream. Then we have data input stream. So .dat is a specific file which is used for storing data. So if you have a .dat file, if we create a copy of this file using .dat. So here we have data.dat file. You can see something is inside this. So if you want to read from a data.dat file, in that case we have to use the data input stream. So here we have this data.file, dat file placed here, and then we have an integer and a double inside this file. Should be able to read the dat file using the data input. You can see that this is the integer that we have read, and this is the double that we have read, and we have printed the same on the console as well. So in our previous section we talked about serializing, writing the state of the file. So we had already saved this employee.ser file using the previous serialization example. If you are not sure, please read this. First we are creating an object, saving into a file, and then we'll try to read. So I'm created this person object at line number 7, you can see, and then I'll try to save it into person.dat on line number 8, and then on line number 15, using the object input stream, I will try to read the same person. Okay, so let's do it. So we can see that it should have created a person.dat file somewhere. Find out where has, if we try to read it from now, the person.dat file at line number 15, we are trying to read it. So when we do this object InputStream.read object at line number 16, it has loaded all the information back to us. So what was there in P, Ravi and 23 was saved to this person.dat file, and now it has been read from the file using this object input stream, which is the stream that is used for reading objects. And we can see that if we print, all the values are printed on the console, the correct values are printed. This is the person.dat file that had got created. Our IntelliJ was not refreshing, but yeah, this file got created, and then we read from this file. Okay, so we have learned about input streams. In the next section, we learn about output streams.